Hello, everybody. My name is Pablo Tovar, and I am a senior music entrepreneurship major. And I am currently working on my music capstone project, and I am creating a podcast called 3D Wellness for Musicians, where I am focusing on three out of the eight dimensions of wellness, those being emotional, physical, and spiritual wellness. And today I have a friend of mine, Lydia Kirkland, and she is an undergraduate music student. Lydia, nice to have you on here. Is there what is your majors? Because you actually have two majors, right? Yeah. So can you explain what your majors are?
Yeah, so I'm dual majoring in music education
Okay.
and music entrepreneurship, and I have a minor in medical humanities.
Awesome. Awesome. So you're busy, busy. Yeah. So it must be really fun to kind of juggle all of that. And you're currently working um, on your rep for your sophomore continuation. How's that going for you?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, the only things are kind of like a little iffy or like sight reading. So I
Yeah.
don't know how to prepare for that, I
For
guess.
sight reading, yeah, yeah. It's always a fun thing to kind of just put music in front of you. One of the things that when I was a performance major was that my clarinet professor, Dr. McIver, kept telling me to sight read flute music, actually, and I kind of had to work on my altissimo. She was like, all that music is going to be high up there for you, so just sight read that, sight read whatever, sight read some trumpet books or anything like that. So I kind of just that's kind of how I prepare. So I don't know if Dr. Beards mentioned any other like methods for but that's kind of like one that I've seen and it kind of works for me. Um, so how many pieces are you playing or do you have prepared?
So I have prepared two pieces, and then I just have my scales and all of that
And
stuff.
all of that, yeah, yeah. And as an undergraduate student, how are you feeling now that you've been here for almost 2 years? How do you feel at the School of Music?
I really like the school of music, and I like the sense of community that you find here, especially with all the different types of organizations.
Yeah, yeah. And are you involved in any? Yeah. So what organizations are you involved in?
So the organizations in the school of music that I'm involved in are the NAFME chapter here. I'm
Okay.
vice president of that.
Hmm.
Then I am involved in Kappa Kappa Psi, and I'm historian for that.
Gotcha. And for NAFME, that's the National Association for Music Educators, right? Right. And what are some projects that you guys are doing right now? Or what are you guys focusing on?
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of different activities, and we just had a thing yesterday that we invited performance and education majors to come to.
Hmm.
And it's basically like a trivia night. We had five different categories with 3 questions.
Yeah.
And we gave out a ukulele, a music stand, two
Fun.
gift cards. It was good.
Fun. Yeah. I actually used to be the vice president for the NAFME chapter here, and I think it was like amazing that we had, or it was a big invitation to everybody to music ed, music performance, and tech and entrepreneurship, and just try to get everybody. So I think it's a great thing that you guys are doing that and inviting other people because I think the sense of community, yeah, at the School of Music is it's very unified, and I think with helping each other, we can just like help each other grow. Um, and so, do you stay physically active by any chance, or do you do anything outside of the School of Music that, other than just like practicing and music theory and history stuff like that?
So I don't necessarily stay physically active, but
Hmm.
I try to stay connected socially while
Yeah,
not being physically present
yeah.
because for me, like staying busy kind of helps me mentally.
Hmm.
And so I'm in Kappa Delta Pi, which is
Okay,
the National Honor Society for just education majors.
gotcha.
And then that's helping me like bond a lot with other people
Hmm.
as well as just like zooming in with friends and stuff.
Especially like in these times right now where like socialization is very hard to do, especially because of COVID. So it's very great that you just keep going with like being social. Because yeah, like I said, it's very hard to kind of keep that going right now. Um, so are you very involved in like social media then, or like yeah, as much as possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so You say you don't stay physically active, which is fine. Um, like some people do like some yoga, or have you done any breathing exercises? Have you ever done those?
I haven't
Like on
done
your own? No.
mm-mm.
A lot of people have like mentioned that breathing exercises just kind of help them. And I wish I would do more of them actually, because I know for before performances at Elkhorn South, when I used to work there, we used to do a lot of breathing exercises. And I think that like mentally helped a lot of students kind of just relax and take their mind off of things. Um, so I think that was like really interesting to do, and I like that it kept going. Um, is there um, what are your goals for like when you have your classroom and like or your just students in a private studio? Like what are your goals for them?
So like my goals for them are to constantly feel like they're growing as musicians and growing as people in general.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to feel like they have to cut off their own personal lives just to be in my classroom, such as if they speak another language, I want them to still be able to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, like just speak English and
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to learn about different cultures, so I want to play culturally diverse music.
Yeah.
I want them to learn about just different things in general, like even if it's not Western music.
Yeah.
And I think it would be really important for them to understand what goes on in society along with what goes on in other bands and what's all out there and what you can do with music.
Gotcha. Yeah, and it's really important to kind of not just stick to one like genre of music and one um, composer or composers that are around that one. It's great to expand and just go like with everybody else, and again be diverse, and keep that classroom just as open as possible. So that's going to take a lot of just connecting with students and stuff like that. So I think you'd be great at that, and I think that's going to be a fun classroom. Do you plan on teaching like elementary, middle school, high school, or?
So my end goal would like to be in a college or university.
Okay.
That'd be an amazing goal,
Yeah.
but I would have to teach before then, and I really like middle school and high schoolers.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Those are fun ages. Yeah. Especially elementary kids are fun too. But yeah, I think middle school and high school is usually the range for everybody. So apart from um, so you say you keep yourself active with your fraternity and sorority, as well as your chapters for the school. Um, like, what are something? Do you think um, your organizations talk a lot about mental health within your groups or within like others? Do you know if that's like a conversation that's kind of been brought up with any of them?
With Kappa Delta Pi, they actually were talking about. So we have to do like professional development every so often. I think we have to do 2 a semester,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be 3.
Mm-hmm.
But last semester we did social, emotional, health and wellness.
Okay.
So that way we're like learning about our students because like they have lives outside the classroom.
Yeah.
We can't just expect them
Yeah.
to walk into a classroom and drop everything that goes on outside their lives.
Yeah, and especially I think students also have that perspective of teachers where they think that, like, I mean, sometimes I don't realize it, where teachers also have a life outside of school. Like professors that I see every day, I forget that they have kids, dogs, other family that they go home to. So it's always just like a interesting thing and something to keep like aware of, just to treat everybody like as a person. So I think that's a great thing that you guys have those kind of conversations, especially like I guess you guys have touched social and emotional, and then right here we're trying to do physical, emotional, and spiritual. But tell me more about the social aspect of it. Like how's
So it was a lot of like it was mainly talking about how like even with COVID, it's been really hard for students because like it's obvious like a lot of us are very zoomed out right now where we're not wanting to really do more with organizations that are only meeting on Zoom because we're on Zoom enough.
Yeah.
And so it's good to like have stuff for your kids. Like I saw this one teacher on Facebook that actually went to the zoo during class, and it was like a field trip for the kids. They all zoomed in and just wanted to look at different stuff. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
That is pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting that they just like, you know, the kids were comfortable with that, and I mean, it's still fun. It's a again very more innovative ways where technology is taking us and how we can kind of still teach students. Um, and so we'll kind of go back to your sophomore continuation. How are you feeling about it as of now? And because it's in what, May? Around May, April?
Yeah, it's
that you're
like,
doing your sophomore continuation?
yeah, the week before finals, I believe.
Gotcha. And again, how are you feeling about it as of now?
As of now, like if you ask me on like a regular day, I'll probably say, oh, I feel very stressed out about it.
Yeah.
But I feel confident
Mhm.
that I feel like I could pass.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, like I can't like be the judge of that.
And do you think that there is a lot of support from professors and um, like colleagues that can help you with like motivating you for your continuation? Do you think there's a lot of that around here?
Yeah, for sure. Like during studio class, Dr. Beard, my flute professor, she always wants me to come up and play my scales for people.
Gotcha.
And she strongly encourages it for any one of us that have like either a recital coming up or our sophomore continuation or a competition that we're doing. And then I have friends that say, oh, if you pull me into a practice room that's big enough for 2 or more people, then I'll be happy to call out scales for you and stuff like that.
And I remember when I was working on my sophomore continuation, back when it was socially, or we could socialize more. One of the big chamber practice rooms, we would get, some other sophomores there, and we'd have like 6, 7 people in there, and we would get just quiz each other kind of. And there was trumpet players, clarinets, flutes, trombone players, and it would kind of just like go around and be like, play this scale, and kind of like that. So kind of just help each other. And I think one of the organizations, it might have been NAFME and or Kappa Kappa Psi, that held like an event where you can come and play your solo and then kind of just present that to people. So it kind of helps with the stage frightness and anxiety that comes along with it. So I don't know if that's like one of the things that maybe you guys are doing, or like through Zoom, maybe perform for one another.
We haven't talked about it in Kappa Kappa Psi. We were going to do it last year, but because of COVID, it got very overwhelming, and we were all kind of confused, I think, about how to handle the situation, because we were still wanting to hear from like headquarters and stuff.
Yeah. And is there anything like, is there anything that you're doing other than just practicing to kind of mentally prepare yourself for that day? Like if there wasn't a sophomore continuation, let's say it's a jury the day of or before, do you do anything to kind of like help with any anxiety or stress or anything you might have?
So I've been doing a lot of extended technique stuff.
Okay.
And there's certain extended techniques that you can only do if your face is relaxed. And so I guess it kind of goes into where you're saying that you wish you did more of the breathing exercises that others might have talked about.
And can you talk more about the extended techniques?
Yeah, so there's this one called a whistle tone, where you basically have to relax your face and relax like your mouth in a way. And it comes out like very quiet, and it sounds super high pitched on whatever like fingering you're playing. It would typically be in the very high octave.
Okay. Yeah, and I also heard that you're currently doing your practicum. What are the grades that you're kind of in with right now?
Yeah, so I'm doing my elementary school practicum at the moment, and yesterday I was with 6th grade, 5th grade, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, and kindergarten, I believe. And then last week I was with 4th grade and 2nd grade.
Gotcha. And how is that going?
It's
like,
good.
because these are for band students,
And
or
it's general music and band.
general music and band. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And do any of the little students that you teach, are any of them, do you feel like, they're anxious about playing, or anything like that? Or are they all just kind of like, oh, we're just gonna play this instrument?
So I think for the district that I'm currently doing my practicum in, the parents said that some parents said, not all, that they wouldn't bring their kid to school, like if there's recorders. So they actually aren't doing recorders.
Gotcha.
And so I do think that there's definitely some anxiety. I think maybe some of the kids have had COVID, and it's like 1 week your friend's there, next week they're not there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird. My teacher, she just started working in a classroom last week, I believe. She was working on a cart, like a physical cart that she's like rolling around in a hallway, having to put some instruments on it. And it's been pretty rough because like they work with like the little glockenspiels, and it's just really hard for the kids because like they want to do more.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely weird trying to do everything with a mask. And they're not used to it, even though it's been almost a year now.
Yeah. And speaking of COVID, how has this affected you with like your college life, your personal life? How is that has it separated you more from society, and or how do you feel about coming back to school with all of this going on?
So basically, I moved with my boyfriend into our apartment last February.
Okay.
And then COVID hit like a month later. And we were like, we're both out of a job right now. He ended up going back to his job like 2 weeks later.
That's good.
They were like, oh, you can come back. It's okay. And so it was really hard for a while because I didn't feel comfortable going into a job because I worked in restaurant service at that point. And now I work in childcare. And so it's definitely been strange because there were a lot of activities that you can't do that are socially distanced. Like you can't really go to a pool. And like our apartment complex has like pools. And so that's like something that you would look forward to during the summer when you're done with COVID in school together. Classes were really weird. Like piano, that was really hard to do online because I was still in my second semester of it. And it was just I had to record myself, send in videos.
And how has COVID kind of impacted your mental health in any way, or has it kind of, stayed the same? Do you you can speak on that, or if not, that's totally okay. But has it affected you in any way, mentally?
Yeah, I'm one of those types of people that I really like to be around people. And it was really hard for me because I wasn't sure if I really wanted to be back in person during fall semester. I took all online classes during the summer. And I only had a few in-person classes last semester. And now it's like this semester, I'm more in person than I am online. It's kind of stressing me out at some points because I work with children. I don't want to get them sick. I don't want to get my teachers sick because some of them are high risk.
Or even yourself. I unfortunately I unfortunately got COVID during the winter break, and it wasn't anything fun, and I was very scared to come back. Obviously, I didn't want to get my family infected. I didn't want to get any other friends infected or anyone like that. And it's kind of scary to come back to school once you've had it. But kind of researching, you kind of get to see that like after a certain amount of time, you're not contagious anymore. You do get antibodies for the most part. And I guess it just varies on the person, but it's still a scary thing to kind of just experience. Especially having to be, I'm like you, where I am a very social person, and having to stay in my room for 14 days is just, it drove me insane. But I'm lucky I had like friends to video chat with or text. So I can't imagine having to, stress about your kids and teachers and yourself, professors, like anyone. So it's a really scary time right now. So, I'm glad that it's working out for you so far. And this is only your second year, but is there any advice that you would give yourself when you first came in your freshman year? that you would give yourself maybe now?
Um, I'd say like maybe to like my freshman self, I would want to manage my time better,
Mhm.
and I would like to write out my schedules
Yeah.
a lot better,
Yeah.
and having like that
Mhm.
would be a lot more helpful.
And so right now, do you plan day by day, or do you kind of just do like weekly, day by day? And do you find that helping you, or do you want to do more of like a week by week basis?
So it's easier for me to go day by day. Sometimes I try to memorize my schedule week by week,
Mhm.
but it gets really difficult just because like I'm doing 18 credit hours, then have all these organizations on top. I'm doing 15 hours of work
Mhm.
during a school week,
Yeah.
practicum. And so sometimes I might plan week by week,
Mhm.
but I have to like really think about what I'm doing the next day, so it's easier to go day by day.
Yeah, for me, I think mentally I've been doing day by day, and it's not always the most fun part, but uh, like sometimes during my workouts, um, sometimes during my workouts, I'll just plan my day that day, and I'll plan the next day, and my next like workout, just kind of like that, because I find that doing my schedule day by day is very helpful. But do you plan any time for yourself during those times, or you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you give yourself like an hour to relax or kind of do stuff that's not
Um,
music or work wise?
So I really like so with my job, we don't work weekends,
Hmm.
so it's really helpful for my mental health. I get to sleep in on Saturday and Sunday mornings,
Yeah.
and I think something that I need to personally work on is sleep
Yeah.
and
Oh
trying
yeah.
to find like things that will make me feel happy without having to rely on hanging out with someone else.
Hmm.
So I've been trying to read, and that's been helping to a
Yeah.
point.
Is it like a self growth book, or is it just anything like it's a or what kind of readings do you do now?
I try and read stuff that I'm interested in doing with my life, I guess.
Okay.
So I try to read stuff on like music, and I try to read like different types of articles on different musical stuff. Like I think infrasound is super cool and
Okay.
the way that that's used, and then I'll read stuff about music theory.
Okay. Yeah. That's definitely yeah, a good time. It's a good thing to kind of just ease your brain out of like your regular life. Um, and I think it's interesting because I don't really put much time to. I give myself time throughout the day to kind of relax for at least 30 minutes or so, but I don't think I ever put time to read. Have you found that beneficial for you to kind of just read and clear your head, or is there something else that you also do aside from reading?
So before I used to take naps
Okay.
because
Yeah, those
it's
are. I mean,
just
those you
it's
can't go wrong.
nice.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
go wrong with naps. Yeah.
And reading, I feel for me tends to be more stimulating for
Okay.
my mind, just because like I'm learning
Hmm.
and I'm seeing different perspectives on things that I would have a different perspective on,
Hmm.
and I find it super interesting. Or sometimes I'll just watch TV.
Yeah, yeah. And I know you had an interest with like music therapy. Do you still do any of those like readings into those kind of articles, or do you kind of just as they come, you see them and read them, or do you like pursue any of those?
I haven't pursued any,
Okay.
but I definitely, if I see it pop up, I will click on it and I'll read it.
Yeah.
I think I follow like a music therapy Instagram page.
Yeah, yeah. I follow one. I think it's called Music Therapy Ed Now. I don't know if it might be
I
the same
think that
one.
might be the same
Is it?
one.
Yeah. And so I think, yeah, no, I think music therapy is a really good way to kind of focus on some mental health and just kind of just students, that unfortunately can't have the same um, experience as others, or they try to get the same experience. So I think it's very fascinating. Um, is there anything that you do that, you know, being in school and being at home, you might have different things? I think I had a guest speaker who said that they pet their cat at home and that kind of relieves them, and another one has a therapy dog. And so those are things that kind of help them cope with their stress. Is there a difference or different things that you do to cope with stress at school and at home? Because obviously you can't, so there's some things that you can't do in public, or you can't really just pet a cat in public, you know. Is there something like, is there different things that you do for for that?
Yeah, so when I'm at school, I'll try and drink at least one bottle of water.
Yeah.
Depending on how long I'm here, I'll refill it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that water is really healthy for me. I stay away from soda
Mm-hmm.
and any carbonated drinks. Like the most I would do is maybe lemonade.
Gotcha, gotcha. And is there, I think for me, I find it beneficial for my mental health to kind of give myself to do time to do like skincare.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you do as well? Yeah, I think for me, skincare can kind of help me just kind of ease. And that's one of the things that I try to prioritize or I kind of have as a routine every day is to kind of get myself like, I cleanse my face, I do this, like I moisturize, everything like that. And that's not music related, but that for me is very therapeutic. And it helps me just, I guess, feel better about myself. And I think one of the things for like emotional wellness is being able to give like feel good about yourself, that you are able to be a positive person for other people. Um, so have you found yourself that you have found a good path for yourself, that you are building stronger relationships with people, your boyfriend or professors? Have you found that within yourself?
Yeah. Like I definitely find that like asking people like their interest helps like build bonds with them and
Yeah.
helps them like connect to you because they're like, oh well, what are your interests?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh well, I actually have the same exact interests, and it's been really helpful. Like even this semester and last semester, although virtual stuff now
Mm-hmm.
exists, I feel like I made a lot more bonds than I did my freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely been really helpful to like get those relationships with people, and even being in organizations that helps a lot with building bonds with people like
Well,
CMTA, NAFME.
yeah, because you'll have a lot of friends and a lot of people with different backgrounds. Like you said, I think you want a classroom that has diversity and or at least try to incorporate that. And I think you have a diverse group of friends that range from music students to anybody else. And honestly, like I said, even with NAFME, you're able to kind of bring people together, kind of help you become a better person with having all these backgrounds to kind of help you out. So thank you so much for being on the podcast and coming in today to kind of talk about your experience with the School of Music. I'm glad that you're finding your way and kind of finding a path to help you with your self-continuation. So good luck on that, and I hope everything turns out really well. Yeah, so thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.